Okay. Hi, how's everybody?
Hello.
Hello. We've got a nice crowd here today. At the end of the presentation, like we did last week with the peer review, for those of you that were here, I will be asking you to pull up one of your peer reviews and to look at, because we'll make a revision plan. So if you could just think about doing that near the end, we'll be doing that. In this workshop, we're going to talk about what revision is not. I will define revision for you, talk about what we revise to do, what we do, and then how to get started. Revision is not editing, and it's really important to separate those two. When we are revising, we are trying to make the paper say what we want it to say, and when we are editing, we're cleaning everything up, all the grammar, the mechanics, spelling, and those editing things can be done on the back end after we have said everything that we want to say. One of the big reasons we want to do this is that if we spend a lot of time making a particular sentence sound really, really good and have it say what we want it to say, then decide later on as we are revising the work that that sentence doesn't really fit with the rest of our essay, then we are less likely to let go of that sentence and throw it out if we need to throw it out, if we've spent 5 minutes perfecting the grammar in that sentence. So thinking about grammatical and mechanical things as we're writing really stops us from getting our ideas down. And so we want to separate those two. Editing makes it look better, revision makes it sound better. So we are talking about things that we do in order to make our writing sound better. Revision literally means re, again, vision, see. It means to see again. We want to take a step back from our writing and see it again in order to make sure that it's saying what we want it to say. We can revise to arms, add, remove, move, and substitute. So we might want to add some more information, take out what isn't fitting. We might need to move information around to make it organized and flow better. And then we might need to substitute an idea or rewrite a specific sentence and substitute it for something else. And so we can think of doing these things arms. We also revise for these things. We revise for content. Does it say everything we need it to say? If you're thinking about a summary, does it fulfill cabin, especially that first one? Is it comprehensive? Does it have everything in it that it needs to have? So you want to revise for content. And then you want to revise for focus. Can anybody tell me what focus is? Staying on topic. And in particular, what is the topic or what is the thing that you're trying to stay on?
Your subject, thesis.
The thesis. So it's not just the subject, it's more than that. It's the thesis. It's the main idea that you're trying to convey. That is staying focused. Clarity. Is it clear? Are we getting our ideas across clearly? We can revise and edit for style later, but right now, is it clear enough that I can hand this to somebody so that they can look at it and give me some comments for revision? We want to revise for explanation. I have posted on many people's summaries and essays in the past where I said, wow, you have this really great idea, but I don't really understand it. You didn't fully explain it. You presented this quote, but you didn't explain the quote. So revising for explanation, making sure that your audience understands everything that you're trying to say. Do you need to add evidence? So you can revise to add some evidence, and then you can revise for flow. Flow means transitions. Everything transitions from the beginning to the end, and you can look at flow within a particular paragraph. So between sentences, look for transition using transition words between sentences, and then you can look for transitions between paragraphs. And those would be your transition sentences from one paragraph to the next. So you can revise for that flow. And then here is a really big important list. These are the things that you can do in order to get started with your revisions. The first one would be walk away, then come back. Always remember the revision means re-see. You need to put that work down, walk away, then come back with fresh eyes, with a new set of eyes in order to revise. The next thing to do is have a plan. This is that reflection and revision plan that we keep telling you you need to have. You need to have a plan. Don't just sit down and look at your writing and go, all right, I'm going to revise this. What are you going to do? Where are you going to start? You need to have a plan. What are you trying to accomplish with your 30 minutes that you spend with this revision? So come up with a plan. First thing, revisit that assignment sheet. Very, very important. Remember that if you don't fulfill the minimum requirements in 1101, 1143, it's getting kicked back to you, and you're going to be told, rewrite this because you have not met minimum requirements. Go back to that assignment sheet. Have you done the assignment? I will tell you, in the past, it was a philosophy class. I wrote this great paper about this theory, and I was kind of reflecting and summarizing a little bit on the theory, and that's kind of where I stopped. And I turned in the paper, and I hadn't looked at the assignment sheet. The assignment sheet was to take that theory and apply it to something. And all I had done was summarize and reflect on it, a summary reflection paper. I had not applied it to anything. I failed the paper. It was a good paper. It was well written, but it was not the assignment. So you really need to make sure that you've met the assignment, because no matter how well written it is, you could fail it because it did not fulfill that assignment. So revisit the assignment sheet. The next thing, read all the comments on your rough drafts. As a teacher, it gets really frustrating when you've given comments to a student, or you've seen that a peer has given comments to a student and then they didn't fix that thing. And you get the final draft and then you get an email. Well, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Well, let me see. I told you. Your peers told you, but it didn't happen because you didn't read the comments. Make sure that you're reading comments that you're given. These comments, your peers and your instructors, any tutor that you come to see, everybody has taken time to give you comments. So make sure you read them. The next thing is talk it out. Have any of you tried this? Just sit down with somebody and talk it out. You have one person you can talk to about school, a roommate, parent, a dog. Really, anybody. In college, it was either my dog. She was a really smart dog. She knew everything about psychology and English. And then my mom, and my mom still gets it, but she's one of those people that will just be on the phone to hear your voice, which is awesome because I could call her up and just talk. And she wouldn't really do anything with what I said, but she would just listen. Because the act of talking it out, telling somebody what it is that you're trying to say, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's what I meant to say. And then you can go and write that down. So talk out those ideas. The next one, read aloud or be read to. So read your paper aloud. Again, that's when a dog or a pet, a fish, anything is really helpful so that you don't feel silly reading to nothing. Read your paper out loud. Or if you have a roommate or somebody who wouldn't mind reading it to you, sometimes we need to hear our own writing in order to be able to figure out where there are things that aren't working in our writing. The next thing is write lots more. Write more. Write more than you need, because you might need to take things out, or you might still be working out your ideas. This is part of that talk it out. If you don't have anybody to talk to, write it out. Write all of your ideas down, write, and then you can start taking away what doesn't work, or condensing the parts that are working and putting them together in a way that is more clear, that's tighter language. You can revise for that. But write more than you need so that you have all of the ideas down. Another strategy is to get physical with it. Print it out, annotate it, and cut it up. When I was in freshman English a long time ago, this is what I did. I had my paper out, and one thing I had was my paragraphs would make a lot of sense, but they weren't organized in the way that would make the most sense. I would just cut it out. Cut out my paragraphs and put them down on the ground and move them around, and then write transitions between them. So sometimes what you really need to do with your summary paragraphs, you've been told, don't walk the reader, don't tour the reader through the essay. Well, cut them all out. Here are all these sentences that are important to convey the meaning of the text, but you don't know if they're organized well. Put them all on a strip of paper, every sentence, and then work with it. Move those pieces of paper around until you're like, okay, this is how G can be explained. This order would work in explaining G or explaining Kress or Kimball. So, actually get physical with your work. The next thing is to take breaks. Make sure that you are taking plenty of breaks. Again, sometimes we need to re-see it. We need to get up and go. So if you've been working on it for 45 minutes to an hour, get up, walk around, shake it off, think about something else, and then come back to it because that will really help. And don't be afraid to let it go. Oftentimes we need to throw out some things. And sometimes, yes, we have to rewrite. And we can't be afraid to do that. That's part of the learning process. You learned something by writing. You did. But let's say you wrote a summary that said what the author did and didn't say what the author says. That's one of the things I talked about in my most recent announcement. So it's not getting to the core meaning that the author is trying to get across. Yeah, you're going to have to throw out much of that summary, maybe even all of it. But by writing it, you did learn a lot about the text. You do understand it more than you did before. But we're going to have to throw it out. You have to let it go. Doesn't mean you actually have to get rid of it, throw it in the garbage. I have, with every big project I've ever written, I always have a second document that's my throwaway document. If I need to cut a paragraph out, I don't cut it out and then let it just disappear. I can't do that. I wrote that paragraph. I spent 15 minutes writing that paragraph. So what I do is I take it out of my current paper and I put it on another document. And that's my throwaway document. Maybe I'll find a place later for it in my paper. Maybe I'll need a sentence or two or the source that I discussed in that paragraph. So it's my throwaway document. So I work with two documents. One is kind of my throwaway. I also put notes on there, things I want to put in my paper, and then I have my actual paper. So let it go, get rid of it, don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to rewrite. It means write again. It's the whole process is you're learning to write, and we're all students. I'm even still a student, always learning to write. All good authors have multiple versions of their text. I read today that Hemingway wrote the last page of, I can't remember the name of which book it was, wrote the last page of a particular book 39 times. Just the last page, one page, 39 times. Threw away and started over. Sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to just rewrite. We have to go back to the beginning because has anybody ever written a paper and by the end of the paper you've changed your mind? Right? Can you then turn that paper in with a completely different idea in your conclusion? No, you take that idea in the conclusion, make it your introduction, and start again. And that's okay. We've learned something through writing. So that is, that's how to get started. So I talked about what revision is not, defined revision, talked about what we revised to, and how to get started. So here we have the guided practice. And this is a sample reflection and revision plan. I'm going to read it, and then I want you all to tell me, how is this a strong revision plan? This is after all the peer review, so there's a thank you. Thank you all for your comments. I can see now that this summary does not have a clear thesis and reads like more of an outline than a summary. These are the things I'm going to work on revising. I will start by rereading G and watching Tara's video again. I think I missed G's D, big D, little d discourse distinction, and this needs to be in my thesis. Also, I need to chunk the information in G so that I can focus on presenting his ideas versus giving everyone a tour of his work. This means I'll have to rewrite a number of sentences. What are some of the strengths you see in this revision plan?
Looking at the source information with a fresh set of eyes.
Good. So there's a fresh set of eyes, definitely. The person is saying, okay, I can see this.
So it's very specific on what it's going to change, not like now, what she's going to revise and change.
Right. So there's specifics. It's not just I need to rewrite my thesis. I need to rewrite my thesis and add this particular information into it. So really thinking about where is my writing deficient, or where is there something missing? And then what specifically can I do in order to make that better? What else do you see?
Discussing what your paper should actually be doing.
Right. So it's discussing what the paper should be doing, talking back to the assignment. What else?
Thanking the peers.
Yeah.
That was very good.
That's always a nice thing to do. They're more likely to comment again, right? There's one other thing here that I'd like to point out, is that it says, I will reread G and watch Tara's video again. So there's this whole idea that you can use the tools. What tools might be helpful? The video might be helpful. If you said, I'll look at the assignment sheet again. Whatever it is that might help you, what tools might you use in order to do the revision? Any questions about that? Okay, so you all are working on revisions in your respective classes. Choose any one of your summaries or any writing that you're working on and write a reflection and revision plan right now, a very specific one. What exactly are you going to revise and how are you going to do that? Okay, I see that we have a number of people online. If you could also jump in, and you can use the discussion post to do this or the Q&A, but if you would jump in and talk about how you might do a reflection and revision plan as well, like everybody else is. So the assignment is choose one of your summaries and write a reflection and revision plan. Okay, we'll take just another minute. Who wants to share? And you could just talk through it if you don't want to read it exactly. You mind?
I basically said like to review my G summary, just reread G to catch on extra details, like give it a little skim, and then rewatch like your videos to pick up on stuff I might have missed on, and review the summary. You know, make sure it flows well with the order and accuracy, and figure out where my strongest, weakest parts, and of course follow the peer advice. And of course, help those weak parts get better, and recheck the requirements and word count, and then polish up the grammar afterwards.
Okay, now as far as the peer comments, was there anything in particular somebody said that you're like, ooh, maybe I should work on that? That you can remember?
I need to recheck, but something about like points not being touched on enough, I guess.
Okay, so explanation, needing to explain and clarify a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Who else would like to share?
My revising plan would be first of all revisit the instructions for the assignment, then go through the source material again, reread my paper, then compare the source material to what I have written about it, and see how that relates back to the instructions. Regroup, remove, and rewrite sections as needed before I add the final draft once I reach that point.
Okay, so get it edited at the very end. Yeah, awesome. One more person? One?
My main things would just be look at the sentences themselves and make sure they actually mean what I think they mean. Go through and make sure that all the meanings are clear and that they all relate back to Crest, and make sure that everything is saying what he meant and not just walking through what he said or how he wrote it. And then rereading the comments, making sure that all the revisions got made that needed to be changed. And then going back through once more, making sure that I addressed all the grammar issues that need to be fixed.
Okay, awesome. So in there, I heard a lot of clarity and accuracy. So doing one of the tips on this slide, but also the accuracy from Kevin, in particular with the summary. Awesome, great job. How about anybody that's watching it from watching the video? Do any of you want to share yours? Check. Okay, none of them are posting. Okay, so if any of you have any other questions, I'll hang around. And if you want me to look at your revision plans, I can also continue to look at those. Otherwise, thank you so much for participating in the revision workshop today, and I will see most of you soon. Thank you.